Welcome back to another episode of Swamp Stories. For this one we cover a complete sociopath, plain and simple. A rapper who wreaked havoc on the streets of California for no reason and with zero remorse, sliming out his own friends and even family members, all while maintaining the image of a rapper who everyone likes. Possibly one of the grimiest rappers we've ever seen. Or maybe not, you can be the judge. In this video, you'll see how a good kid can turn into an absolute savage, just like that. And how constantly backdooring your friends will eventually come around to bite you. So welcome to the Samoan Grim Reaper. But before we get into it, let me run the intro. The story begins deep in the middle of the South Pacific Ocean, specifically on the Samoan Islands, historically home to Polynesians who over thousands of years developed their own language and culture while having very little contact with the outside world. But then of course in the 1800s, the British, the Germans, and the Americans saw the islands as a strategic territory. Strategic to build warships and then to dock them there, so for decades these countries fought over the territory back and forth and back and forth. They eventually gave it up after realizing that it's really just too far away. But then came New Zealand, and they took over the island after that. New Zealand kept control of the Samoan Islands until 1962, when the Samoans finally got their independence. Now eventually it would become two countries, Samoa and American Samoa, but either way that's a brief history. Well, because the islands are so small and remote, it's really hard to build an economy and a prosperous path for natives. And because of this, half of the island's population moved to New Zealand, Hawaii, and California. Now in Southern California, they settled in Oceanside, Long Beach, Compton, and Carson. And in Northern California, let me break it down like this. The Samoans who were more established and had better jobs, well, they bought homes in San Bruno, San Mateo, East Palo Alto, and some in San Jose. But then the Samoans in poverty, they all went to San Francisco. Specifically, they all moved to the projects, Alemany, West Point, Double Rock, and most importantly, the Sunnydale projects. From Samoan island life straight to the grimy projects. Now of course, being bigger than everyone, you shouldn't be scared of anyone. But in these projects, you will get blasted just for no reason. So of course, the Samoan community in San Francisco would develop its own street activities, and you know how that goes. So in terms of Northern California Samoans, your family either came over and bought a house, or you were deep in the trenches of San Francisco. However, for one kid in particular, his situation was much more unique. That introduces us to a young boy named Momo Valga, also known as MJ. MJ was born on the island of American Samoa, specifically the small city of Pago Pago. But like many Samoans, he immigrated to America at a very early age. However, this didn't happen in the typical way, as MJ got to America by way of adoption. Adopted to an upper-class white family in San Francisco.
Welcome home!
A culture shock is definitely an understatement, but at least he had cousins in San Francisco that he could see and kind of relate to. Nonetheless, on paper, MJ's childhood was pretty great. He attended private Catholic schools, he played sports, and he stayed on the right path. He wasn't all deep in the trenches getting exposed to the things that his counterparts were. Then for high school, MJ would attend an all-boys private school called Archbishop Reardon. Here, he would thrive as a rugby player, actually becoming one of the top recruits in the country. Strong, fast, relentless, fearless, as he led Reardon to winning his league. Really a boy on a field, you feel me? But by the time MJ was at this stage, his family had actually moved to San Francisco, and in particular in the middle of the projects. This is when life would just start to take a tumble for the young teenage MJ. His previous sheltered life far gone, as he's now deep in the trenches with his cousins. And when you're young in San Francisco, being around trench babies is kind of like a disease. Let me explain. Constantly seeing your trench baby peers hitting for $20, $30, $40,000 licks and never getting caught, it's like, damn. You're in class studying for a stupid chemistry exam, and they're over there flexing $50,000 cash with designer on and every girl you wish you could have.
Like, shit, I'm trying to do that shit too.
It's a tough pill to swallow as a teenager in the city, and MJ started to ever so surely fall down this path. Nonetheless, he'd graduate from Reardon in 2016 with the opportunity to play rugby in college. But the streets had already consumed his mind and his heart. At this point, he begins to run with his cousins in the Sunnydale Projects, which if you're not familiar, has two different sets. You've got 4-2, which is pretty much the black set at the bottom, and then you got Tray 4, the Samoan side up top. Of course, he runs with the latter, and together they become Terrorized, a robbery crew like nothing the Bay had ever seen. I'm talking a crew of straight savages robbing everything and everyone. Terrorized. Well, along with his new street life, he also becomes a rapper under the name of Ten Shada. Now, while I wouldn't say that he became a Bay Area mainstream name off the rip, he did develop a small buzz in the city. At first, he'd rap with his cousins Sauce Bang and Mo Gutta, and while they suck, like they can't rap at all, these two are demons in the streets. I really can't stress it enough. Terrorized was terrorizing the streets of the Bay.
This is the moment more than 20 masked and hooded people stormed into Heller Jewelers in broad daylight Monday.
Surveillance video shows 2 carloads of burglars breaking into a San Francisco smoke shop in the middle of the night.
This graffiti on the boarded up outdoor dining platform is just the latest blow to K Elements Barbecue in the Richmond. Vandals, thieves, and burglars are hitting already struggling small businesses.
Earlier this week, just a mile away, thieves rammed a car into a convenience store on Balboa Street to steal lottery tickets.
At this time, if there was any robbery in the Bay, there's a 50% chance that Terrorized did it. Now, most of the time it was easy getaways, breaking in cars, breaking into stores, taking stuff, and getting out the way. Then they began robbing individuals as well, and in the Bay Area, nobody really fights back. But eventually, you're gonna rob the wrong one. Like on October 23rd, 2017, Ten Shada's cousin Sauce Bang would rob a plug in Pittsburgh. The plug by the name of Scipio thought that he was friends with Sauce, but then when Sauce upped on him, he was not trying to give it up. Boom! Right to the head. Sauce would take his life just like that. He'd actually get away with this for a few years, but then 3 years later, he'd be arrested and sentenced to 22 years in prison. Either way, the point is to show you how reckless and heartless Terrorized is. And this level of heartlessness spreads to Ten Shada in a major way, to the point where he becomes a whole new persona. There is no more MJ, it's just straight up Ten Shada. He quickly becomes known for robbing plugs, jewelry stores, dispos, and even rappers. Ten Shada starts rapping right in the midst of a whole NorCal wave. Mozzie, Yada, Lil Peep, Lil Yee, a whole movement is brewing. And with this movement, there's out-of-state rappers tapping in like never before. There's examples like Fetty Wap, pretty much all the Detroit rappers, and OMB Peezy. Now he's actually from Sacramento, but he claims Alabama and puts on the accent and everything. But anyways, with all these rappers tapping into the movement, it's a great opportunity for young rappers like Ten. You know, to get in the studio, lock in, maybe make a connection or two. But Ten has a different idea. While in the studio with OMB Peezy, who's scorching hot with hit songs, instead of trying to collaborate, he robs him for his chain. Give me that shit, bitch. After doing this, he even flexes them on Instagram, completely destroying his own reputation in the rap industry and potentially f***ing up the reputation for the rappers around him. This is who he's become. He's robbing everyone and running up a bag while facing zero consequences. But then when he's feeling like he's on top of the world, he gets hit with the other side of the streets. On April 21st, 2018, his best friend Pooty would be shot and killed while posted up in Hunters Point. This was a big loss for Ten on a personal level, but because it wasn't his direct politics, it really had nothing to do with him. So he keeps it moving, hitting licks and rapping in the meantime. But then, a Samoan beef starts to brew in the city. I've covered this before in a previous video, but here's the deal. Long story short, the blacks and the Samoans were allied for many years in the Double Rock projects. But then, a random incident would ruin it all.
It was basically, we all was chilling outside on the block, and one of my niggas at the time was just like, he ran from the police. He dropped his gun, dropped his phone, but he kept running. The Samoans came and found his phone, took it, and took it to the Mexicans downtown, sold it. And my nigga came back and was like, bro, with my phone, with my the female said y'all took my phone, like, and the Samoans was like, man, like, we sold that. We gonna have to fight and get it up though, like, let's fight and get it over with. Like, my nigga was like, he looked at all of us. I remember this day, bro. He looked at all of us in the face, was like, I'm thinking we finna have a brawl, Samoan black, we finna fight these and get over with. Like, he just pulled out a strap. We don't even know, like, we all like, okay. But he pulled out, so all y'all niggas get the fuck out of Double Rock. get out of Double Rock. Okay, it's up then. It's up. So once they left, we like, what niggas ain't, we ain't want these niggas. They ain't gonna do. So we go back over there to the hood. It's pitch black over there. It's like them niggas cut the lights on our hood or something like. They go right there. All hell break loose. And that was a big shootout.
Basically, a Samoan from Double Rock snaked out a black dude from Double Rock by taking his phone and selling it, and then it turned into a shootout. And over the years, this basically got all the Samoans in the city to gang up against Double Rock projects. The animosity grows, and for the young generation, it all kicks off on April 5th, 2020.
Bay Bridge shooting. One person died overnight. 2 other people are injured. The CHP says this was a targeted and possibly gang-related shooting. It happened at around 11:30 on the upper deck, the westbound lanes near Fremont Street. 2 passengers in a gray Infinity car were hit. A 20-year-old man died and a 19-year-old has major injuries.
Terrorized Mogutta would survive a headshot, but sadly for his little bro baby Reno, he would lose his life. This would crush the Samoan community as it was their first loss in the beef. And what it does is unify all of the Samoans in the Bay, plus everyone on their side of the politics. You're either with us, or you're a target too. And this is when Ten Shada and all of his terrored-off homies truly jump off the porch and turn into killers. Boom, 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 boom. They began whacking rivals left and right. They truly began terrorizing the other side, hunting them everywhere they could be, and that includes on muni buses as well. It's a real all-out war. The 2 sides hate each other, and if one side slips up even once, you're probably dead. And in a war like this, one thing that is very important is to make sure that your side is solidified. No infighting, no internal beef, because that only helps the enemy. Now for most people, this is understood. There are certain lines that you don't go against. But for Ten Shada, he just doesn't care. He's all about the money, so if you have something that he wants, whether you're on his side or not, he doesn't care. He's gonna get you for it. I now introduce you to one of the fallen BR's closest childhood friends. This would be a major hustler out of Hunters Point named 4L Bali. Well, after the loss of BR, Bali was crushed like everyone else, to the point where he even got his face tatted on his body. And while Bali's not directly in the beef, the tattoo shows where his sympathy lies. But like I said, Bali's just known for getting money, chains, whips, traveling, all that kind of stuff. And for Ten Shada, despite his loyalty to BR, this makes him a target. So here's what the Samoan Savage does. Ten Shada allegedly hits up Bali to make a little transaction. Bali thinks nothing of it, and at night, he meets up with Ten Shada in a remote location. So they meet up, and boom, Ten Shada immediately ups on him. Bali is like, man, what are you doing? And before he can grab his pipe, Ten unleashes. Bang! Ten flees the scene as Bali is left on the curb. The ambulance arrives in 10 minutes, and miraculously, they get him to the ER with a heartbeat. Somehow, he would remain brain dead in a coma for a few months. Then, by the grace of God, he wakes up and returns to normal. Either way, this was awful and a huge deal. Everyone was like, whoa, what are you doing? In the middle of a beef, you do this to somebody on your side for no reason whatsoever? What are you thinking? And this is when he truly begins to have the reputation, a heartless snake savage. But this is only the beginning. Now we fast forward to 2022. It's the early summer of 2022, a miraculous time in the Bay Area. Not only for the nice weather, but also because the Warriors just defeated the Celtics to win another ring.
But they've returned. And returned with a championship. Curry with his dad, the emotions just pouring out.
For most people in the Bay, it's a time of joy and celebration. But for those involved in the city beef, it's a little bit different. They're in the middle of a war, and there's a good chance they run into each other at the festivities. June 20th, 2022. It's the morning of the Warriors parade in downtown San Francisco, and of course, Double Rock and the Samoans are there. They run into each other, they throw hands, and then they separate before the police can arrive. None of them are dumb enough to crash out in front of a crowd of thousands of people. So they go their separate ways, and that fast forwards us just a few hours. 8 p.m. Ten Shada's little cousin named T.I.O. Twin heads to In-N-Out in Daly City to grab a bite. At this point, Twin is just a football player for South San Francisco High School, not fully in the streets. But for some people in the beef, this doesn't really mean anything, cause coincidentally, the Double Rock crew walk into the same In-N-Out just 5 minutes later. And while standing in line, the Double Rockians spot him sitting down.
Hey, is that little bruh from Sunnydale?
Oh yeah, let's get on him. So they walk up to him with their phones out and begin stomping him out.
I'm a football player, bro. Fuck VR, bro. Fuck VR, please, bro. Please, I'm a football player. No, please, bro.
Sheesh. This is disrespectful. And the worst part about it is that they post it on Instagram and it goes viral.
I'm just a football player.
Well, when his big cousin Ten Shada sees this, he's pissed. Like, oh,
This how y'all playing? Stomping out my cousin and embarrassing him, and he ain't even really in the streets?
okay, bet. Watch this. 10:30 p.m. Here we are in downtown Oakland, with many people outside celebrating the Warriors championship. In particular, the brother of a Double Rock rapper known as Inna Cuts is hanging out at Halftime Sports Bar. Now this dude is not in the streets or not in the beef at all, but after what happened earlier, the other side just doesn't care. They get word of his location and they're on their way. At 11 p.m. while he's standing outside talking, a car pulls up. This is when 4 masked men with Dracos hop out of the whip and run him down.
Oakland, where police say one person died after a quadruple shooting outside Halftime Sports Bar. This happened around 11 o'clock last night. You can see a heavy police presence there, lots of crime scene tape, and a lot of evidence markers there at the scene. The bar is along 14th Street near Webster Street, and police say this happened following a Warriors celebration. We are working to learn the conditions of the 3 other victims who were shot and what led up to that shooting.
Now this was a major deal because it broke the simple rules of beef. Leave people who ain't in it out of it. But for Ten and his boys, it's like, you stumped out our little cousin at In-N-Out and he ain't have nothing to do with the beef, so it's only right. Disgusting acts all around, but this just shows how dangerous these dudes are. And because of incidents like this, Ten began to have the reputation of a real stepper. A heartless savage who has no problem putting you in the dirt. At this point, he's completely heartless, but still, his next alleged actions will shock you. If you're familiar with the rap game, especially in California, you know how big Empire Records is. Some of the biggest artists in the world of all genres signed to the San Francisco label. A label started by a guy from a country in the Middle East that I don't think I can say the name of, but he grew up in San Francisco and this is where he started the label. This would of course be Ghazi. And why this is important? Well, because he's very, very loyal to San Francisco. Despite having major contracts with the biggest artists in the world, Ghazi still puts a lot of time and effort into developing local talent. Even if the artists have no real potential of blowing up big, he'll still dump some money into their career just to, give back to his city. And because of this, Ghazi and Empire are pretty much untouchable in San Francisco. Meaning that you're not going to go rob Empire or bring your bullshit to their doorstep because the respect is just way too high. This is true for 99% of the city's hoods and rappers. But for one guy, he just doesn't care. And that takes us to December 12th, 2022. It's 9 p.m. at Empire Studio in South of Market, and the rapper Peezy is there trying to make another hit. So he's in there vibing, having fun with rappers from his hood like Sleaze FM. And during the studio session, they post on their Instagram stories, and of course, allegedly, Ten Shada sees where they are. And being the nosy savage that he is, he decides to pull up by himself. Either to get in the studio and record with them, or to utilize his drums, and we ain't talking music. 9:30 p.m. According to witnesses, this is when Ten Shada arrives to the studio and kind of lingers outside. Just chilling, walking in circles, Well, coincidentally, at this exact time, Peezy decides to walk out of the studio to get something from his car. And when he steps outside, Ten Shada is right there, and allegedly, they start blowing. 27 shots ring out, and Peezy is hit once. Thankfully, he ends up being okay, and the shooter gets away safely. This is a big deal in San Francisco, lighting up Empire Studios. Unwritten rule. But before we get into that, you may be wondering, how do you know it was Ten Shada? And honestly, I don't officially know, but after it happened, everyone texted me, Ten Shada just shot Peezy at Empire Studio. Ten Shada just lit up Empire Studio. Everyone knew this except the police. And if we assume that this is true, you gotta think, this guy is not smart. As a rapper, you just ruined any chance of signing with Empire or really signing with anyone in the industry. You just ruined it all. You're digging yourself into an even deeper hole, one that you can probably never get out of. You're toxic and everyone is scared to be around you. Well, except for people who don't really know who you are. As we know from the Bali situation, Ten Shada has no problem crossing anyone for money. So associating with him or even being around him is really a dumb decision, because you're definitely gonna get robbed by him too. At this point, everyone in the city knows this, so they're either too scared to cut him off, or they're just not fucking with him at all. But outside the city, people don't really know this. They know that he's hard and he's doing stuff in the streets, but really all they see is that he's got a bunch of money and he's got some popularity. His collaborations with Terrorized, Greasy, Fredo Bags, and Dex Kruger kinda solidify him as a local star. And because of this, struggling rappers outside the city are willing to lock in with him and, make music or do whatever.
So that introduces us to a brand new character.
I now introduce you to a young man of caucasity by the name of Max Mason. Now Max is your typical wannabe street dude, a white dude born and raised in the suburban city of San Mateo, who for whatever reason just wants to be hella hard.
Maxwell, do your homework. No, Mom, I hate you. I want to be a thug.
Well, throughout his teenage years and early 20s, he becomes affiliated with San Mateo's Shoreview Crips. I know it sounds ridiculous. San Mateo Crips? Really? But like I said in the beginning of the video, Shoreview San Mateo is a Samoan enclave where a few guys started a gang.
San Mateo.
Yeah, Shoreview to be exact. We on the east side of the freeway.
Tell me a little bit about that.
We just a little quiet little city over there, you know what I mean? We got a little something going on, but it's a little tight-knit community, you know what I mean? So
long story short, Max Mason starts running with them and he begins rapping as well. And running with them, he gets a bunch of money in the streets and spends it on features like with Draco the Ruler. The music doesn't really blow up, but along the journey, he becomes known for hitting licks, trapping, just getting money. Maxwell was officially making it out of the grimy, nasty, disgusting streets of San Mateo. I'm kidding, of course, and along this journey, he actually gets arrested and goes to prison.
My son Maxwell, he's run into a bit of trouble. He was always a good kid, just hanging around the wrong crowd.
Long story short, Max does a couple years in prison and he comes home in 2022. After all them years of hitting licks and running it up, he's now home on ground zero. No money and time to run it up again. This is when Max makes a terrible mistake. Due to his gang ties with the Islanders, he's connected with Ten Shada. Now Max sees this as the perfect opportunity. Ten is known for getting money, so I can get money with him, and then, musically, he can help me out as well. So Max and Ten Shadas lock in, and they begin hitting big-ass licks. So now Max thinks that this is his brother. We run together in the streets, we get in the studio, everything's good. He has no idea that this dude is a slimy, slithery snake. It's early January of 2023, and allegedly, Ten Shada comes up with a big easy lick. Why easy? Because he already has the codes to get in and out without having to break a single thing. How he has these codes? Well, because it's his uncle's warehouse. Then mysteriously, a bunch of the warehouse valuables go missing. So long story short, his uncle notices, he checks the cams, and he sees two dudes in masks emptying the warehouse. This is very suspicious. How did they know how to get in and know where all the valuables were? This has to be somebody in my circle. So the rumors say that Ten Shada is questioned. Bruh. Neff, did you run through my warehouse?
Nephew, I see you got all that money in them videos and stuff, bro. What? You didn't have nothing to do with this, huh?
Hell nah, Unc. But I'ma figure out who did it, I promise you. And here's where things get messy. Max Mason's homies say that Ten Shada told his uncle this. Man, it was this white boy who I'm running with. He snaked me out. He snaked us out. Unc, I can't believe he hit this lick behind my back. I'ma go handle this, don't even worry about it. Basically, they allege that to save his own ass, he throws Max under the bus. And that takes us to January 31st, 2023. It's 7 a.m. in a tucked-off San Francisco neighborhood known as Little Hollywood. Here, Max is up bright and early, waiting on his homie to come meet him so they can go hit some licks. 7:29 a.m. As Max is sitting in his car not paying attention, a man is slowly walking up to his whip. The car is lit up over 50 times. This was a tragedy that really happened for no reason. Of course, Max's homies were pissed as they tweet and post all over the internet,
"Fuck Ten Shada.
You snaked out our boy." Well, in reality, you can tweet and post all over the internet all you want. But are you really gonna go push up on Ten Shada? I don't think so. But nonetheless, this is another example of how dirty the streets are and how you can never trust anybody like Ten Shada. So as word gets around the Bay about who did this, everyone's like, hey, that dude is a real snake.
Do not lock in with them, bruh.
But on the flip side, his reputation grows as a stepper and a dude who can get the job done. Combine that with a deep desire for money, and you've got your perfect hitman. You need somebody gone? Call 10. You need somebody robbed? Call 10. At this point, he's neck deep in the streets, and his previous persona as MJ is completely gone. The talented rugby player and private Catholic school graduate, far, far in the past. Now we fast forward just a few months, June 18th, 2023. It's a Sunday afternoon in the Potrero Hill projects, and 4 Terrorized members are hanging out outside. Anyways, these 4 members are hanging out in the projects when they decide, hey, let's go get some money, let's get in the field. So at 4:30 p.m., the 4 friends hop in a stolen Infinity and they head down to the field. At 4:45, they arrive to the famous Ghirardelli Square, and here they begin peeking in cars. They smash into a Dodge Caravan and a Toyota Camry, stealing all the bags inside. This is when a bystander calls 911, but still, SFPD do absolutely nothing. So for the next 2 hours straight, the Infinity tears up the north side of San Francisco block by block. They easily break into dozens of cars with no signs of any police. 6:47 p.m. They're still in the field, and now they're bipping in North Beach. This is when Xavier and Jomar approach a black Chevy Blazer with an out-of-state license plate. Inside is a couple from Las Vegas, and the man in the driver's seat sees it coming. So as soon as they walk up to his car, he unleashes. Boom, boom, boom. Jomar and Xavier are absolutely stunned as they sprint back to the Infinity. This is when the Chevy Blazer, who just committed a felony, speeds off. The members in the Infinity are not happy, so they decide to pursue the Chevy. This is full crash out mode. Flying down the Embarcadero, the Chevy Blazer is being chased by the Terrorized Infinity. The Chevy gets slowed down in traffic near Pier 35, and this is when the Infinity catches up. 2 members hang out of the window and begin blowing. Pop, 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 pop. Thankfully, the Las Vegas man isn't hit. However, 3 bystanders are. The Chevy somehow maneuvers and spins back the other way up the Embarcadero. Of course, the Terrorized mobile still pursues him. As he's approaching Fisherman's Wharf, sadly the Chevy smacks right in the back of a pickup truck. This is when the Infinity pulls up right behind him, and all 4 members hop out and begin blowing. They let off 59 shots into the Chevy Blazer.
There's multiple callers, security advising they saw people ducking and running.
Right away to that breaking news, multiple shooting scenes in the heart of San Francisco. Gunfire erupts across the street from Pier 39, and a rolling gun battle ends along the Embarcadero. The chaos coming on a busy Father's Day Sunday.
Detectives working along the Embarcadero Sunday night, where evidence markers were scattered everywhere.
It sounded like backfire from like a car engine, and then all of a sudden you heard pop, 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 pop. And it didn't stop. It went pop, 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 like 20 to 25 times.
That from a woman eating in this area with her family along the Embarcadero. Police confirmed that at least 2 people were shot, Witnesses tell us those victims appeared to have both been in this car, seen being chased by a white sedan.
I could tell that he's for surely been shot. And then when I looked at the car crash and the bullet holes, I was like, oh yeah, this was a whole thing.
Urgently, the members hop back in the Infinity and they speed back towards the Bay Bridge, speeding uncontrollably through the tourist part of the city. And this is when they smack into two bystanders. A 16-year-old girl from Wisconsin breaks her ankle and her 10-year-old little sister smacks into the windshield. Thankfully, she would be okay. Still scary, but where are the police? Somehow, with a broken windshield, they make it to the Bay Bridge and they head across with no police pursuing them. At 7:10, they arrive in Oakland and they park the car behind an abandoned warehouse on the east side of Oakland. They ditch the car and send it to flames. Somehow, they would get away with this recklessness. However, for the Las Vegas man named Lee Haywood, he would be arrested and charged with a felony, but most importantly, he and his girlfriend would both survive. What the hell was even that? An afternoon of pure savagery and reckless whatever. But this is when one of the members named Richard makes a major mistake. At 7:30, he texts his homie named Lil Motion and he says, "Hey, I just got shot at in the field." Lil Motion responds, "You good, bruh?" "Yeah, I'm good, bruh. Just had to handle some business with the car." He then tells him to come pick them up on 98th in East Oakland, and he does. All four members off in the distance, with no police on their trail. I just have to rant, okay? You bit for hours, no police arrive, and then you go up to a guy's car who's ready, he shoots at you, so you chase his car, you shoot up his car 59 times, still no police, somehow you get away, and while you're driving, you hit two girls, still no police, then you make it to the bridge, you drive over to Oakland, still no police, then you light the car on fire, still no police, and you wait there until your friend picks you up, still no police. And then you wonder, why are these dudes so wild? Because they are allowed to be. But then 3 months later, Ten Shada is pulled over in Oakland, and on him, they find the pistol that was used in the shooting. Damn. So just like that, he's arrested, and subsequently, so are his 3 other friends. Okay, so stolen car, over 30 burglaries, 59 rounds into a dude who just crashed his car. What else? Hit 2 girls who are riding their bikes, and then setting the stolen car to flames. This seems like something you should probably get 20 years in prison for, right? No, somehow Ten Shada gets his charges completely dropped, and for his other friends, they simply get time served, no time in prison. Welcome to San Francisco. So still to this point, Ten Shada is an innocent man. Everything, and nothing ever holds him down. He's either really, really lucky, or he's a street genius, or the Bay Area justice system is a complete joke. Probably combination of the 3. The bottom line is that the law can simply never hold him down. However, when you snake nearly everyone you lock in with, eventually it'll come around to bite you. So now we fast forward to 2025. At this point, Tear It Off is crashing and burning. Things are not looking great to say the least. A bunch of members get indicted, and in the beef, a bunch of losses back to back to back. After running it up in the field and dominating the Opps for years, everything kind of turned back around against them. But on top of all this, Tear It Off begins to tear from the inside out. Internal issues, snake moves, homies stealing from homies, you get the deal. And specifically for Ten Shada, he's right in the mix of this. May 5th, 2025. Sunnydale is back popping with everyone posted up outside. At this point, the complex is nearly completely abandoned, waiting for a rebuild. So this means that they can be out there blasting music with no complaints. Well, now it's 3 in the morning, and everyone is outside posted up on Brookdale. This is when Ten Shada pulls up for the festivities, except he doesn't pull up to the block, he pulls up on Sunnydale Avenue just a block away. So he parks his car and hops out with his homie named Gleech. Little does he know, a couple of masked gunmen are waiting for him, hiding behind the project buildings. And while Ten is walking towards Brookdale, they hop out of the buildings. Before he can even react, they let off over 65 shots. Tragically, Ten Shada passes away at the scene. Now, as far as who did this, I know, but I can't say. But let's just say that when you snake out everyone around you, eventually they'll come back around to snake you too. This dude, while being a talented rapper, was really just as wild as it could possibly get. For all intents and purposes, good, bad, and ugly, this dude is a San Francisco legend. Well, either way, please let me know what you think. Did you enjoy the video? And if you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe.